Welcome to the Guy Pie Podcast, featuring Anthony, Chris, John, Sean, and Mark. This is a weekly podcast where five guys come together to make the ultimate conversational pie about the games they are currently playing.
Welcome to the Guy Pie Podcast. I'm Chris. Joining me is Mark,
What up?
Anthony,
Howdy.
and John.
Look at me!
Is that Mr. Meeseeks?
I'm Mr. Meeseeks.
I'm Mr. Meeseeks.
Gotta take this off now. It hurts. Look at me.
I do this whole podcast like
Yeah,
that.
well,
You gotta commit to the whole bit now.
You can commit to the bit.
All right.
God is no longer a member of this podcast.
See, I would commit to the bit, but I can't hear you guys.
Just get like little
That's fine.
earbuds, you know? Just,
Yeah.
There you go. All right. Sean couldn't be here this week, and let's get right into it. So last minute edition, a couple of you started playing Monster Hunter Rise. I will let John start us off with this one.
So, yeah, it was free on the PlayStation Plus upgraded. I think it's like premium, and I was playing World, and kind of like rage quit today. And I think Mark brought up the fact that it was free or something. So I was like, you know what, I might as well download it. And then I bought Sunbreak as well, and yeah, I have to say, like, in a way, it's a better game than World. That might be a little controversial, but there's a lot more added to it, like quality of life things. Like traversal is a lot easier because you have your dog, your Palamute, and you have your wire bugs, which you can like zip around on, and just makes getting around a lot easier. On top of that, they took out like having to track the monster, so you don't have to go around finding footprints, and you don't have to go like level up your tracking just to find them. This one, it'll just if you don't know what the monster is, it'll actually like show like a question mark right on the map, so you could just go right to it. Or if you know the monster, like you fought it before, like you can actually see the monster on the map, which I think is better for like speed, I guess, like making the missions a lot faster, because in World they can drag on forever. Also, I find the weapons are a lot more simplistic. The wire bugs kind of add a little more complexity to attacks. Like you can get different. I forget what I think they're like weapon scrolls or something like that. You can like change your wire bug ability. For example, I'm using the hammer right now, and the ability that I have is if I hold L2, which is like the wire bug thing, and with my weapon out, I hit triangle, I'll do like this jumpy, like spinny move over the monster with the hammer, and it does like a ton of damage. You could change that, I think, to like there's like a backstep one where you backstep and then hit like go out and hit the monster. And yeah, I like this one a lot better, and I feel like the monster variety is a little better. Like the get sick of seeing like different versions of Rathlos and different versions of like Palmulu. Like it's you still find some of that, but not as much. Yeah, I'm having a good time. I've only played a couple of hours so far, but I did make it through the entire story on Switch. I also have to mention I'm playing the PS5 version over the Switch version. There are a lot of improvements in like the graphics and the frame rates. The cutscenes are a little weird. Like they seem like choppy, like the frame rate's a lot lower. But as I was saying to Anthony, like you could actually skip these ones, unlike Monster Hunter World, which is a little bit annoying if you're like going through multiple playthroughs in World. So yeah, overall having a good time.
Nice. And Anthony, you started playing today too?
Yeah, it's the first time since the introduction of the whole tier PlayStation Plus system that I've actually gone and upgraded from Essential, because I like to buy my games on hard copy. I like to wait for sales and buy them digitally and own them in my own digital library. So I never saw the appeal to this. But I just kind of was like, okay, I could do this and get access to this game. And I looked, and it was like $67. I still have like 400 and something days because I bought another year when it was on sale, even though I still had time left. So it was like $67 to upgrade. So I have 400 days at this tier. So in my head, I'm like, I know the base game is $53 right now. This is a little more. And I would then have to buy the DLC, which I'm not quite going to do because I still have to go through the base game. So I'm going to kind of hold out. Hopefully, maybe there's a sale. Summer school's going to be out soon. Hope maybe there'll be a sale on it. We'll see. But yeah, I'm like, okay, well, I could just, instead of $53 for this one game, I'm like, I'd be buying it digitally, and I do own it on Switch. Me and John played together on there, so I do have a hard copy already. So I'm like, I'll pay the extra 10 to 15, what is that, 12, $14. Yeah. And then I have the access to the whole library that I can just peruse and potentially, this was an assumption, I don't know, but like if I download a game from the catalog on my PS4, then my son uses his PlayStation account. My assumption is he'd be able to play the game I downloaded. I'll have to test that out, but if that's the case, then that's even better, like for the value. So, anyways, yeah. So it's just I never thought I would see the day where I actually am like going to upgrade from Essential, and I did so that I could download this game and play it. Because John and I had a great time with it on Switch, even though it was on Switch, which is saying something, because it like that game is pretty fast paced, and the Switch is not very known for that kind of thing. It's been fun. Just re getting reintegrated with the game. Like certain things I like about this one about that are different from the world is the town hub area is significantly smaller. And at first you're like, oh, that sucks, but it's like no, like that was one of my biggest pet peeves with Monster Hunter World is you're like, oh, I got to go to the canteen. It's like okay, let's either run over here and take some elevator and run, or it's like okay, let's run up like 3 sets of stairs. It's like this one's like no, you just walk 10 steps over there, bam, you're at the canteen. It's like oh, I got to take on a quest. Well, I mean, granted, there are boards everywhere in the hub and world, but this one, it's like more compact, just feels more, I don't know, quicker. Like John was saying with the fights, like just a lot of aspects in this game make it feel much quicker. You get into the action quicker, you get out quicker. Um, it almost feels a little more arcadey in a way, which I kind of like. It feels a lot more lighthearted too. Like I was saying to John earlier, and I think you agreed, where we find this one a little bit on the easier side in comparison to World. Not to say that it's easy in general. Like it definitely has a learning curve to it, but yeah, I'm just excited to get back into it. I've done character creation. I spent a while on. I made nice chick with red hair and you know the usual, but did some training missions. And yeah, the you're speaking of what's it called, the thing that you can use to like grapple.
The wire bug.
The wire bug, yeah, like the move you're talking about I have right now is where you basically do like you shoot it behind you and then it pulls you to do like a backflip. So you get like essentially an additional dodge ability, um, at least to start. Like I don't remember a lot from when we played originally, but yeah, of course I'm going bow. I love the bow so much I can't not do it. Um, yeah. So I'm looking forward to put more time into that. So far, just mostly tutorial stuff. I did one hunt, like um, just a basic monster. And that's the thing. Like I've so far, I'm like settling into this one much quicker than I was with World like this last week or so. So it's a nice feel.
I just want to add on to something Anthony said. You know how he said like the whole village is like pretty compact. There's also a fast travel too if you open the map.
Right. I forgot
Yeah,
about.
you
I
can
haven't
actually
used it
go.
yet, but I remember that from when we played before.
Yeah, yeah, it makes it a whole hell of a lot easier to get around.
Mm-hmm.
Very nice, very nice. Mark, you said you downloaded it, so you're planning on playing it?
Yeah, I got it downloaded and ready to go. I'm looking at it right now.
Nice.
Yeah, pretty much once we're done here, I'm going to hop on it and show them monsters.
I'll
It's a
I'll
new,
uh
it's a new king
I'll
in
do
town.
I'll do some hunts with you after.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll join
Me
you
and
too.
John are going to screw up some monsters. Anthony,
Oh,
you're
okay.
invited too. Chris, you stay on Destiny.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, I was like eyeing it earlier without the context of you guys playing it because I was like looking through the catalog as I usually do because like the game I'll be talking about next is in like the premium catalog. But yeah, no, I saw that and I was just like interesting. But I think for me, Monster Hunter is the only thing that has my interest going forward is Wilds when that eventually comes out.
Yeah.
But it is cool to see that you guys are back to this, like in like the new, like the PS5 version, and it's crazy. I honestly did not expect like the words Anthony saying. I upgraded to like the next, yeah, and I honestly
Yeah.
never would have thought, but I
I've
think
been against doing that for since it came out. I was like, no way, no way.
I'm pretty sure. I could be wrong. I'm like 98% sure. In regards to what you're mentioning earlier, with like Link being able to access them, you should be good, yeah, because like they register the games almost as purchases on said account. So as long
Oh,
as like how you usually have it, where your account on your PS4 is your main PS4, you should be good. So like any of the games he might have interest on there, I think it'll be good for that. But
another detail too. Like, I mean, we're obviously both agreeing that that's probably going to work, but another detail that may play a part as well is like his account isn't just like a PlayStation account. Like, it's literally linked essentially to my account because he's underage or whatever. So he's like my family accounts kind of thing. I don't know if you obviously you guys probably I don't know haven't dabbled into that too much, but yeah, it's like I have my PlayStation account has full control. Like he can't do anything on that account without it's directing to my PlayStation account to like approve it and stuff. So I mean, there's always that too. That like if it wasn't just the general usage that we were just talking about, that maybe the fact that he's part of my family set of accounts would initiate the access. But I think it's what you were just saying, Chris. That it'll probably just work.
yeah, I think you shouldn't come across any issues. But honestly, I'm not surprised that the three of you are playing this right now. Like as I saw firsthand with like the full on Monster Hunter addiction last weekend and all that. Like, you know, you guys do what you got to do. Bide that time. You know. Any final thoughts on Rise before we move on? All
No,
right.
sir.
So
Eat it.
next, oh, somebody about to say something.
No, I said eat it.
Oh,
I
yeah.
don't know.
Next up, is an old game. So I started playing Daxter, which, for those of you who haven't played it, it was a PSP game. It was recently added to the PlayStation Premium. So yeah, I think it goes Essentials base. Extra is like the PS4, PS5 games. Premium is like PS2, PS3, PSP, all that. My initial plan was to play Sly Cooper. But unfortunately, when I went to play the PS2 version, I got the rude awakening of the old PS2 controls with the camera movement and the right analog stick, and it was like super jarring. So I was like, I can't do that. So I decided to start playing Daxter. Um, and I've been having fun with it. I haven't really given too much of a shit in terms of the story. I'm just playing it for like the nostalgia of it. Uh, so there's these missions that you get that are like dreamlike sequences, and I just got to the first one, and they're essentially mini games. So the first dream mini game is your Daxter in like the Neo trench coat Matrix, and it's a rhythm mini game where these guys start running at you, and it's just like one guy's running up and it'll be like hit triangle and then you karate punch. And it's just like basically a parody of the scene from like the Matrix film and all that. And something that's I haven't experienced until now because I haven't really used any of the old games that utilize this yet. With like the emulation, I don't know if it's just limited to PS2 and PSP games, but there's a feature called Rewind that is fucking incredible. Like, so in this mini game, right? the second I fucked up, if I like say I missed one, I would literally rewind it back 2 seconds, get back into it, and then just like so like I could cheese like the perfect 40 combo by just like rewinding back. Oh, I fucked up, rewinding back, which is helpful because when you get to the final 10 stretch, it's just like they just all jump at you, so you got to hit them in like quick succession and all that. But yeah, no, it's a fun, silly game. A big theme of it is you're just going around exterminating bugs with like an electric fly swatter, and then you get like a gun that sprays like bug poison, but if you use it around like torches, it becomes like a fucking flamethrower. And it's just like it.
Nice.
Yeah, it's no, it's a fun time. It doesn't look like it'll be a long time because obviously You think back to the PSP era, outside of RPGs and stuff like that, those games typically had very short story lengths, right? Like they were like one and done's almost. Yeah, no, it's kind of nice to do something different. And yeah, John, did you ever play Daxter on the PSP back in the day?
I did own a PSP at one point, but no, I never played Daxter. I did play Jack and Daxter. Like, is it similar to them at all, or?
Well, yeah, there are definitely a lot of elements that like carry over, like the whole precursor orb collecting and stuff like that. But yeah, obviously the big thing is instead of like mainly playing as Jack, it's just like you're strictly Daxter and all that.
Yeah, I mean, like if I ever get bored and just want something quick to play, yeah, I'm definitely down to give it a shot. I did enjoy Jack and Jack 2 and Jack and Daxter. It's a good franchise.
Anthony, I know you were a big PSP guy back in the day. Did you ever play this one?
I don't remember. Like, I definitely probably tried it because there was a point where our friend in high school, David Dow, his uncle would mod PSPs. And I remember having mine done, and at that point, the world was my oyster. And it was almost a bad thing, to be honest, though, because at that time frame, it was like whatever game I would get, like buy, I would only get a couple games a year, so I would end up playing them and beating them eventually. But like when you have so much access, it's like, oh, I download 3 different games, play one for half an hour, close it, play the next one. You know what I mean? Just like float around way too much. So there's a very real possibility I played this one. I do the one that does stick in my head a little bit, not enough to remember much, but I just remember that I did play it was the Clank one, Secret Agent Clank, I think. Which is kind of I don't know if it was a similar game, but it is kind of like from the outside looking in, it's like the sidekicks from like these two major like franchises. But when you were talking about Sly Cooper and the controls, that reminded me. My nephew and I, like when he was much younger, we played those together. At least the first, maybe second one as well. He's much older now. He's like mid-20s, and maybe like 4 years ago or so, he's like, "Oh, let's hang." Like I'm like, "Come over to my house. Bring your." He had the Sly games for PS2, and like the whole weekend we're just gonna chill out. You know, pass the controller back and forth and play and have a few drinks and play through, like see how far we can get. We didn't even beat the first one because like we were both kind of like, I don't know if this is aged very well. I don't know. Like everything was great about nostalgic was there. It's just it was hard. You know, like harder than we remember it. And we could have pushed through, but eventually it was just started to become less fun and a little just more frustrating. So we just opted to play I think we ended up playing Borderlands 2, but yeah.
Yeah, the better call is definitely to like. I would recommend anyone who wanted to play Sly Cooper is to play the PS3 collection, where they did the remasters and all that. I just remember that being a much better experience. Like obviously it's just like it's emulation of the PS2, but I was just hopeful that I would be able to. The biggest gripe is just the camera movement. It's very jarring.
Yeah.
And it takes like I literally started the game and started moving around, and immediately it was like, I don't know if I can do it. Like it wasn't like I got like an hour, 2 hours in. I was just like immediately I was like, I don't know, fuck. Like,
Yeah,
It
like
was a different time.
it was a
when
very
when
different time.
we were playing, it started to get to the point because we were trading off the controller, right, taking turns. To eventually, it was like each of us was hoping the other person was going to take a longer turn so that they didn't have to do it. So eventually, we're like, okay, let's just put this to bed.
Uh,
But fun
Oh,
nonetheless.
jeez.
Mark, has like the Jack and Daxter games, Daxter, that ever catch your interest?
I never really looked into them before. Like, I definitely was still an Xbox person back when those games were out. So like the nostalgia factor just isn't there for me to even want to care about them. Like maybe if they release like a new one for like the PS5 and stuff like that, maybe I'd give it a try. But like for you guys experience a lot more of the PlayStation stuff than I did. So like for me it's just not there, and like I know exactly what you're talking about, Chris, and like I don't have the love for the game to tolerate the old school mechanics for like camera control and stuff like that. So yeah, for me it's just not there. I'm sure it's a really fun game. Sure, like in its prime it was awesome, but I'll just live through your guys' experiences of what it was.
I will say it's kind of incredible to think about. So like Daxter wasn't developed by Naughty Dog, but like the Jack and Daxter games were. So it's like the people who made Jack and Daxter are the people who made Last of Us. The people who made Sly Cooper are the people who made Ghost of Tsushima. Fucking people who made Ratchet made fucking the Spider-Man games. It's like how far these studios have really come in like their game design and all that is
Range.
wild. Like, but yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say. I did send Anthony an interesting screenshot from the game. You like you're crawling out of like this like almost like sewer pipe, and it's just like immediately it's just Daxter just like looking at the cleavage of a female character, and I'm just like, I don't remember these games being like that sexualized, but all right.
You know,
It's
it's
what I
funny.
think it's one of those things where like they put it in there for the adults playing, but like when you were younger, it just didn't register properly to
Just went
you.
over the head.
Yeah.
If you Google Daxter PSP, that's one of the first images.
It's,
That's freaking awesome. All right. Next up, we've got Dredge. Mark, you just finished playing this. Tell us about it.
yeah. I just wanted to see if I did get that. I did. Okay. Yeah. So I began playing Dredge at the beginning of the week. I already beat it. It was a really fun game. Just like it wasn't too hard, too difficult. It had like I think John pointed out, like it had a really nice like horror factor to it, where like when you're going around at night, like there definitely was like it did a very good job at giving you that eerie feeling of being on like open waters with like there might be monsters around. As like the more your sanity meter goes away, the more like freaky stuff starts happening. Yeah, it was a fun game. It's not long at all. There's two different endings. I just got the main ending because it was a fun game, but I'm not going to invest too much into it. I just wanted to get something to kill time, and like I don't want to do the mindless grinding stuff afterwards. The ending was still pretty interesting. I liked the basic story for what I did pay attention to. But yeah, just like the fishing is fun. It's like it change it up. Like different type of fish have different type of like like quick time event inputs and stuff like that, where like the first set you go, it's just like there's a few green bars like around a circle, and then it's just like a clock going around, and you just have to hit it as it's going. And then like once you get farther, it'll be like three different segments. So like it'll start on this one, and then you'll hit it, and then it'll go to this one, and then it'll go this one, and then it'll go to that one. And then yeah, so like there's a few different kinds depending on the fish that you're getting. You gotta collect upgrade things, upgrade your ship, and upgrade the rods in order to get different kinds of fish in different areas. Yeah, just overall is a really fun game. For the grand price of free, it was well worth it. Even paying for it, I don't know how much it was. Do you know how much like it actually was in the store there, John? Or
I
no?
want to say it
Okay,
was
well,
like $30 something, I believe.
I would have guessed probably around like 20-ish, but yeah, like even then, like it still was like a nice fun game. And like for the people who want to do that grinding, like I'm not going to go for the platinum personally. It's just like the RNG grinds I usually don't have a lot of luck with, so I'm just going to let that one sort of rest and enjoy the experience I had with the game. Yeah, it wasn't anything over the top, but then again, it also was really far away from the bottom. And yeah, it's just a nice little experience driving the fishing boat around and catching and selling fish and avoiding the horrors of night.
Yeah, sorry, I was just trying to see if I could see it, but it does that thing where it says purchase because of like the PS Plus.
Yeah.
I will say the digital deluxe is $35.99, so I'd probably say $20 to $26.99 for the regular.
Yeah, that's I figure it'd probably be like around 2025 range personally.
If you're in the game page, if you go over to the three dots next to like where it says like download or blah 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 blah, it'll actually show you the price. I think.
And let's
Usually I go to my web browser and I hold down on the PlayStation Store link and click open a new tab, because if I just click it, it'll open the app and then it'll open the website where I'm not logged in, and then I can look up the game. That's how I usually do it.
Yeah, unfortunately, the app on like the PlayStation app on iPhone doesn't have like the dots for it.
Yeah, I think it's 33.49 for just the regular edition.
Oh,
Yeah, it's a standard edition because I went onto the actual game page and like because I got it through the catalog, it's giving me the option to purchase it if I want. I'm not going to, but yeah, it's like $34.
John, you were talking about this one a couple weeks back. I know you've had like limited hours, so it's mainly been like Monster Hunter stuff. But have you been playing like any Dredge, or did it kind of like fall off to the side?
It's gonna kind of be my game in between games. I don't want to finish it right away. I do have a lot of fun with it. It is something you can pick up and put down pretty easily. So I think it'll just be like, oh, I'm sitting there and like I just want to play a game for like half an hour to an hour. I'll play that. Um, I haven't beaten it even on PC, so it'll be it'll be interesting to see what that ending is, because if it's as odd as the rest of the game, I'm sure it'll be great. But yeah, no, it's like I said, it's been a busy week. Being an adult, having my daughter graduate, and having to take her out to dinner and stuff, and just life in general gets in the way.
Yep.
Damn kids.
Anthony, I know you're not a horror guy, but since you've got like the upgrade now, would you try this out? Which also, second question. I know a while back you've had the mindset you wanted to try Dave the Diver. Now you can play it through the PS Plus upgrade that you did.
It's free
Yeah.
for
Yeah,
you
see
now.
that I will most definitely do. Dredge most likely not, especially with the fact that Extra has quite a few things on there. I still have yet to even browse it. And I'm fairly confident that of my gaming interests, there's going to be a lot more I'm going to find on there that just pique my interest way more than Dredge ever could. Because it in general doesn't pique my interest that much. I think it looks great. Like I really do like the art style, but just for what it is, I don't know if it's something I could really get into. However, Dave the Diver, yeah, I've been waiting for like the combination of a cheap sale / time to play it, that I have time to play it. And for those two things to like cross over at the same time, it's I could be waiting a while. So now with that, I'm gonna download it. That way, it's when I have the time, or like where I'm like, I got 3 hours to kill, and I don't feel like playing Destiny, or I don't feel like playing Monster Hunter. I can just boot it right up. So hell yeah. But Dredge, no,
No Dredge for you.
no, thank you.
This is a game I will eventually give a shot. It's just like it is at the bottom of like the priorities because there's so much shit to play. Like I said, like I was telling Mark earlier, my current game plan is I'm finishing the platinum for another Crab's Treasure, gonna get the platinum for Daxter, and I think once that's done, I'm gonna finally go into Unicorn Overlord. So it's just like, and then balancing that with Destiny, it's like I can't do Dredge as well. So it's gonna be there for that time where I'm like, what do I feel like doing? I have it downloaded, ready to go. It's just when the mood kind of strikes, kind of thing. Any final thoughts on Dredge before we move on? All right.
It was
So
a fun experience.
it's quite good. All right. So I'm interested to see how this conversation goes now. The next up, we got Monster Hunter World. since John was just like he rage quit that, so I'm kind of interested to see what happened there.
Yeah. So the problem with Monster Hunter World that I'm having right now is just like I want to try new weapons, and I'm having a hard time like choosing one that I am really enjoying. Uh, Longsword tends to be like my main. Usually, that's what I'll play with. But I was dabbling with the bow a little bit. Dabbled with the gun lance a little bit, with dual blades a little bit, and honestly, I find a lot of they all have very different playstyle, like extremely, like they're almost different games altogether. The dual blades is kind of like quick successive hits. Uh, the best way to go about it is like making sure you have like a specific element on them. It's kind of like the idea behind it is to really do your research and make like different forms of it to hunt different monsters that are weak against the elements that you have, and you have to make sure every hit counts, which is kind of difficult when you have a monster like flailing around like crazy just not stopping. um I ended up getting frustrated with trying to find what weapon worked for me, so I ended up going back to longsword, and I was fighting Brachydios, and fuck man, he has like this, just like he'll jump right at you like out of nowhere. He'll just fucking like stop, look at you, and just jump on you. His main thing is like he puts like the slime on the ground, and if you touch the slime it gets on you, and if you stand in the puddle for too long like it explodes, and if the slime stays on you for too long it explodes. And it's just like with that going on, and then him just flailing his arms around wildly. He does this like left hook fucking move that just comes out of fucking nowhere. You try and dodge right, doesn't work. Dodge back, it like goes too far. I was fighting him for almost the entirety of the quest, which they're timed. It's usually around 50 minutes. And I got him down to where he was limping, so he was almost dead. And I had one try left because I had died 2 times before, and maybe like 10 minutes left in, he fucking just like left hooks me, kills me in one hit. I fucking I don't think I've ever been so angry at a game in my life. I put my like I hope my charger, like I have that charging port for my PlayStation. I hope like it's okay because I like slammed my controller down on it and I was like, fuck. And I just like stopped playing. And then we started talking about Rise, I think, on the group, and yeah, I just started downloading that.
That's definitely that sounds extremely frustrating. Like the
Yeah.
way you described the boss fight too, I was kind of like, is he describing that, or is he describing like an Elden Ring boss with like the whole poison, the stacking? Like
That's what it fucking feels like, man. It felt like an Elden Ring boss, and I didn't want it to be that. I wanted it to be a Monster Hunter like boss.
So Anthony, now that you're into stories, are you kind of done with Monster Hunter World?
Yeah, I not to the same degree as John, but I rage quit as well earlier. What kind of led into that is I was already kind of having trouble finding my footing because I want to stick with bow. I wanted to continue my game, and I read around what to do, so I was doing like to reintroduce myself as a returning player. I did a couple low hunts. I went to the training area, messed around with the bow, just trying to get back to what the combos were, what the movements, traversal, stuff like that. And then I'm like, okay, I jump into Iceborne. I do like the first couple hunts. They go pretty smoothly. I'm like, okay, I got this. Like I got it. I got the core movements down, so it's good move, smooth sailing. Hopefully from here. But then one thing I started to realize is I don't know like what I was doing near the end of my initial playthrough, but like, I was just severely lacking in materials for like pretty important items that you generally are using all the time. Like there's these different tiers of like armor and attack potions. It starts off like a seed, and you turn that into a potion, and then you turn that into like a mega potion for like attack and defense. And then there's also your like mega potions that you drink to heal. I basically had practically none of those. So it's like for me just to get my supplies up to snuff, I had to like stop progression and go back and just use the cultivating function of the game. And how it works is like you set up what you want items you want them to cultivate, but then they cultivate based off you running hunts. So I'd have to like basically opt to run easy and quick hunts over and over, go back, claim my items, go and do a bunch of hunts, go back, claim my items. And it just started to seem like all this time I did not want to spend. Um, but and where I finally was like determined that I was lacking these items is I was trying to do this Coral Pookie fight, and yeah, I mean, chalk it up to just the fact that even though I am getting the combos and like the movements down for the bow, the reality is I just came back to the game. So this is a Coral Pookie, which is a higher tier version of the original, different a little bit, right? But it's probably the same attack patterns and stuff. But the problem is I haven't played this in 6 years. So I don't know the attack patterns of this monster, right? So and they hit hard. Um, even when okay, so jump over to Rise, right? It's like even though I did play a bunch of this with John on Switch, I'm kind of strong armed into having to restart, and it's attractive to me because now I can play it at a higher frame rate on a stronger console with a controller I prefer more. Um, so even though I have to restart, that's okay, and it's the beginning. So even though I may not remember the attack patterns of these monsters, it's not as punishing because they want you to learn the patterns, right? So you don't just get messed up so quickly. Whereas in Iceborne, like you're jumping in Iceborne and you're not familiar with like the attack patterns enough, like you're gonna get messed up, and that's okay because that's how you learn. But the problem is I don't have the supplies to do that. So then that's where it comes back to where I have to go back and farm materials, and where it's just all this time I don't want to spend just to play the what I want. So ultimately, after I got killed and lost that mission again, I was like, okay. I remember John mentioning at some point he wanted to jump over to Rise, and that's where the conversation kind of started. And then, as you know, where it ended is back on Rise. So,
Another thing I want to add is that tedium with like the the item crafting that can still exist in Rise, but at the same time, there are these things called Spirit Birds in every map where you don't need those demon like they do the demon drug and armor skin like you don't necessarily need those. They do add to it, but you could literally just run around and collect a whole bunch of those things and raise your attack up to like almost max, like what you can handle. Yeah, so like you can still do that crafting thing and cultivating thing, but it almost feels unnecessary in this game.
you're talking about in Rise, right? You're talking?
Yeah, in Rise.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that because I vaguely remembered that when I was running around on that mission I was doing, and I saw them and I was picking it up. I didn't quite remember what they were for, but now that you mention it, I do remember that.
Mark, last weekend, the addiction starts for Monster Hunter Now. During that time, where you heard these guys talking about playing Monster Hunter World before you decided on Monster Hunter Rise, were you kind of toying with the idea of visiting Monster Hunter World again?
I did play because Monster Hunter World came out a while ago.
Yeah,
I did play it when it first came out. I'm pretty sure I played with them a bunch too. I just never got back into it. I never played the Iceborne expansion. I only played the first part, but I did really enjoy the game. It was definitely very grindy, as Anthony was saying, but like I did enjoy the game. For the vast majority of the game, I used I think it was called the Bug Spear. I can't or the Bug
Oh,
Glaive,
the
something like that.
insect
The insect
glaive.
glaive. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the main weapon that I was using, I remember. And like it was like depending on where you hit them, it would charge a different kind of bug thing in the staff, and then you could do like these crazy like acrobatic flips over it, like jump down, stab onto it, and then you could actually like ride it around while hitting it a little bit. It was the game was fun, and I remember ending off. I decided to try a new weapon, and it was the hammer. And I loved the hammer so much. It was so much fun. My favorite thing to do is like if I was hunting a monster, I would make sure it was at the bottom of a slope. Then I'd just start sliding down the slope. As soon as I got close, I'd jump up, and my guy would just be doing a bunch of flips with the hammer, smashing down. It was a lot of fun. Uh, yeah, I'm really excited to try out Rise. I'm not going to taint my Monster Hunter experience by going back to World after what they said. So I'm just going to start fresh with a game I've never played before, and yeah, just see how that goes. I'm really excited to try that one out versus going back to try and relearn all the monster moves and like all the controls and stuff like that for the game that I played a long time ago.
Yeah, this whole time I had no desire to revisit Monster Hunter World. And if you guys were trying to pitch me on it, you guys did a horrible job.
If
I
you
will
want
say,
the
like,
free one, Monster Hunter Rise.
so World definitely, as I'm sure everyone knows, like looks much nicer. The maps are, I think, bigger, and the environments look much nicer too. But that is kind of lost after so many hours in, you know? Like it just becomes background noise to the giant monster you're fighting. Whereas this one, even with the maps being a little bit on the smaller side in comparison, not much smaller, but that's one thing I also remembered about. I didn't experience this recently, but I remember back in the day, like, I don't know if you remember, a lot of the maps, they like have a lot of different elevations and stuff and crisscrosses. So when you're trying to track the monster, I don't know about you guys back then, but like I would get, you know, turn around. I'm like, where do I go? You know, like I'd eventually get there, but it's just it would add that extra level of like, you know, with John saying how the Rise is just more geared for like faster. The whole experience is just faster in so many different respects that it's when it's about grinding materials and you have to farm the same monster many times depending on your RNG, faster functions, faster, smaller areas, faster traversal with the mount. It's just better overall, better overall experience.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, I like I said earlier, I'm very selective when it comes to Monster Hunter. Like the desire to ever play is few and far between. Like when Monster Hunter World, we all played it. I liked it. I think if I think back to it, I was Sword and Shield, or yeah, Sword and Shield, and then Dual
Yeah, I
Sword
remember that.
combo. Like those were the two I'd fuck with. Yeah, I'm just gonna. I There's too much shit to play right now for me to kind of like force myself to play Monster Hunter. Uh, and plus, like I'd rather just wait for Wilds because that game looks beautiful as fuck. Any final thoughts on World before we move on?
Fuck Brachydios.
All right. Next up we got Destiny 2. Anthony, I'll let you start us off on this one.
Yeah, so we jumped into the new raid. Um, Gotta say, leading up to it, every day that we got closer, I just, could be honest, I wasn't entirely looking forward to it. I mean, I was, and I knew it was gonna be a fun time. But as far as like, I don't know, it's just a lot of information for one encounter across 5 encounters. Luckily, as we learned, like a lot of information carries over, so it's like every encounter you progress, it seems like you're only just adding a little bit of information on top of what you already know, thankfully. So as I'm sure you can guess, the first encounter was probably the harder one of the two because we were going there with nothing. Whereas the second one, we kind of grasped the information and the application rather quickly. Now it was just a matter of getting it done. So I had a really good time. I didn't go in it with too much expectation on how far we'd get. And as you guys know, we didn't get too far. But rewarding nonetheless. Like as soon as we beat the second encounter, it was like, yeah. Like everyone's cheering.
Oh yeah.
Definitely look forward to jumping back in. Don't know when that'll be, but like I'm ready. Like aside from when I'm gone next week, like I'm down any weekend. So if we can get 6 people together every week for the next 6 months, I will fucking be there. Unfortunately, we will not be able to do that, but wishful thinking. But either way,
It's
yeah,
the
I'm
idea that counts.
yeah, yeah. I can't wait to jump back in. Especially because I think we're just gonna smash those first 2 encounters. Uh, yeah.
Yeah, like already a big thing going forward is them getting rid of the surge system, which is just awful. I mean, I get where they're going with it, but it just sucks when you have to go in here like yesterday. It's just like ideally you want to do stasis and arc, and it's just like you're super limited on what you can really benefit from. Like now we'll have the freedom to use whatever we want. So Mark, like you'll be able to use that Goldie gun sniper helmet combo and really
I'm going to be
maximize the
100%
damage.
honest. I used whatever the hell I wanted the whole time.
Yeah,
Well, but like
Like
you'll be able to really
I never,
maximize the damage, though.
yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
like I think we're really gonna feel that because, like you were saying, Mark, like that whole time I was using Zauli's Bane, which is a solar hand cannon. That was like my primary ad clear, and then I was switching to a strand energy weapon for the chonkier guy. So I was off surge pretty much that whole time, except for my heavy weapon for the boss fight. So like when they get rid of that, it's just gonna feel so much easier. We don't have to rely on it, like, because yeah, I was trying to follow the surges, man. Like when we first started, and I was like, this, these surges are horrible. Like like the ones we had, just horrible.
Yeah, the second encounter, swapping a Nova Bomb with the Apotheosis Star Eater combo was definitely the way to go for me for like DPS, because as we started seeing like the numbers start like, and like again, like once these surges are no longer a thing we have to consider, like the damage will just be even better, especially when like, because that was the shitty thing. I was using a stasis sword, but like in a perfect scenario without the surges, I could then use a void sword where as I'm spamming my grenades, I'm constantly weakening the boss, which with the artifact mod, my void damage is doing more damage. It's just like a much better synergy with the artifact that I hate the limitations. Like we already get that
Yeah.
enough, I think, with like say like grandmasters and stuff. It's like you need overload, you need barrier, you need these factors that come into play. Like raids, like kind of like I think it's okay to have a stuff for say like a master version of the raid when they really want to make it difficult. But for just like a regular version of the raid, where for a lot of people like this is them getting experiencing the raid and getting comfortable with it, I much rather prefer that. But no, yeah, I will say one thing I was noticing during the raid was how much I love the exotic class items. Like just the builds they had, like the first encounter, just like every time Anthony, when we were like running into a new room, I would just be like sliding in doing that arc warlock melee, just like taking out a crowd, and it was just so fucking fun. But
That actually reminds me, Chris. You know, I was telling you I was gonna inspiration from that second encounter. I swapped to the Osmiomancy gloves. I put together that build, and I with the class item that has Osmiomancy Star Eater. I took it for a test drive, and I came up on just a group of maybe like 6 guys, and within killing those 6 guys, keep in mind the class item I only get 1 grenade charge as opposed to 2, right, from the gloves. Just with my 1 grenade charge, I think killing those group of 6 guys, I got 3 grenades off. So the grenade regen in this build is exactly what I need. So now I'll be able to do exactly what I was doing last night, but then also have Star Eaters available. So looking forward to using that next time.
Yeah, outside of the raid, I don't think there was. Well, I think the big thing was the Grandmaster Excision activity dropped this week, the 12-man, which unfortunately we all learned this week. The catalyst for the new exotic sword is tied behind that, and there's no matchmaking. So it's
Yeah.
one of these days. One of these days we'll get it. But yeah, Mark, what were your thoughts on like the raid last night?
Honestly, I loved that raid. It was so much fun. The it's like it was difficult until you knew what to do, which I really appreciated that like they didn't water things down. They're just like, listen, you guys made fun of our last raid, so here you go. And it's like all the platforming in it, I love platforming. So like all the platforming in it was really fun getting in between. I like how they actually added like there's like little mini boss monsters leading to the encounter areas. So like that was fun. So it always keeps on changing things up. And then the actual encounters themselves was like it was nice, fast paced. Like everybody needed their coordination going on, got the communication. Now is a little bit of a rocky start at first once we had no idea what we were doing and all the guides were saying different things. So once we figured out piecing 6 guides together, once we figured out what we're actually supposed to do, then things went way better. But yeah, it was fun just rocking out all those ads and trying to collect all the resources, getting into the middle, doing all the damage, and then the second one that we did with that boss fight was actually a lot of fun. It was a very interesting way they did that. Like they having the 3 people jump in, having to deal the damage on the head, and then get back, call out the symbols, and then coordination. So it definitely emphasizes on teamwork, and like it's not one of those other ones where it's like, oh yeah, if you have a strong 3-person team, you can rock this entire thing, no problem. It's just like no, like this was made for 6 people, and like you need 6 people to coordinate in order to get through it. So I did really appreciate that. It definitely felt like back in our OG Destiny 2 first release day when we were going through our first raid together, and like we're all just trying to figure it out, not getting anywhere, but just having a bunch of fun. Yeah, it was a great experience. I'm really excited to when we get to try it again. We'll have to get John all kitted up, get him in there, and we'll make her happen. Make her happen. Yeah, I really appreciated that. I do need to farm out some more class items though, because I only got the one from doing the quest with Anthony, and I haven't gone back to get any more. So I need to start farming those out and get some better things because the prismatic, Jesus, that was once I did Liar's Handshake with my prismatic build, and like just that was so much fun. So I need to start trying to get some better combos on those capes and see what I can make. Yeah, overall, it was a great experience. If anybody wants to get into Destiny, right now is a great time. So get on it.
Yeah, fucking Bungie absolutely cooked with this DLC. Uh yeah, Mark, honestly, I'd say the best path for you, like in terms of grinding out those cloaks, what I ended up doing was I would load into like the landing, wait like 30 seconds, there'd be like a pulse that all the chests spawn, go hit all the chests, like pull up the map, reload into the landing, wait for them to spawn again, rinse and repeat. Because like, yeah, once you unlock the exotic class item, obviously from the mission, you can get them from any chest in the Pale Heart. So
Nice.
yeah, that's what it's still very tedious. As somebody who I think has gotten like 25 to 30 exotic class item drops at this point, it was a lot of time spent doing that,
Jeez, yeah.
but it paid off. I got some fucking really nasty combos. Yeah, John, yeah, like Mark said, we gotta get you kitted up. There's definitely like a laundry list of things you got to do before we can get to that point with you. But what are your thoughts on what you've heard of the raid so far and all that?
It sounds like an absolute blast. Can't wait to see because I feel like it'll bring back that spark, almost like Leviathan did. Like Leviathan was my favorite raid, and honestly will always be. And it was an absolute blast, even though we couldn't figure shit out. So yeah, I can't wait to. I think next week's gonna be my week to actually finish the story and get back into it, and yeah, then look up the steps and start grinding out to get to that point. And yeah, I can't wait to raid with you guys.
Yeah, once you're all caught up on the story, there would be like a couple missions for sure you want to do. Like the Golden Gun Sniper mission comes to mind. Us getting him through the exotic class item one, that for sure is. I'm trying to think. The Microcosm probably as well. Trace rifle.
Yeah.
Is that the Kostov one?
No,
No, it's still heavy.
yeah, the heavy trace rifle.
Yeah, if you're not a hunter, you probably should get that.
I think I'll just use Sweet Business for the whole raid.
Unleash the sweet business.
Okay, I take back what I said, John.
We're all full up for the rest of the year.
I just checked the schedule, man. Sorry, we can't fit you in anywhere.
Okay.
But all right. Any final thoughts on Destiny before we move on?
Stick it in your mouth.
Destiny.
All right. Yeah, I ended up tossing this in there. I can't remember if one of you guys specifically said it, but I knew it was a given that all three of you were still playing Monster Hunter now. And I know, Mark, you weren't here last week, so you didn't get to talk about it. So I will let you start us off. How's the Monster Hunter Now addiction going?
Well, I've played it literally every single day. I open it probably about 1,700 times. You know, I'm going to do that right now while I'm talking about it. I like when Pokemon Go came out, it was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. And like it's one of those things like it made me want to get out and like go walk around. Yeah, so like going up to the convention, they were playing it. I'm just like, you know, I just got a new phone and they did an upgrade to 200 gigabytes of data for less money than I was paying before. So I'm like, you know what? I have infinite data right now. Let's play the game. Let's try it out. Let's just like I'll see if I like it. And then by the end of the weekend, I was basically level 34 for the 2 days I was playing it. Yeah, and just it just grabbed my attention very hard, and it did not let go. And yeah, it's fun because like it is a phone mobile game, but like it actually does have a nice little like strategy you can do to it because like each weapon isn't just like, oh yeah, just to tap on the screen and your guy does this now. Like the Gunblade was like the main focus of weapon for like the new season that they're dropping. So like that's been my main weapon ever since I unlocked it because it was automatically way stronger than anything I had access to because I just started the game. I had no materials. So I've been starting to now try out some different weapons, and Dual Blade is probably one of my favorites so far. Because like it like you do super fast attacking, and then like when you hit your super button for the first time, you enter into a demon mode, and then like all your dodges, instead of you just dodging, you dodge and you slash at the same time. So like it adds like another whole field of play with that. So like the dual blade, which is like meant to be super fast action, you are always hitting it as long as like you're staying close to it. So like it's starting to attack, instead of you stopping attack to reposition, you reposition while attacking, and then like the super special attack with it is a lot of fun too. You pretty much think, was it Sean said, you pretty much just turn into a Beyblade. You just turn into a Beyblade and you just roll along the back of the monster while slashing it. And that's just one of the weapons. So and like you got the sword and board combo, long sword, great sword, charge blade, gun lance, regular lance, bow, blowgun. So like there's tons of stuff that I haven't even experienced yet. And yeah, it's been very fun. It definitely motivates me to like get out more and just like walk around, just like, oh yeah. When I got back from YetiCon, I was like, man, I'm tired. Like, but There's a monster down the road from me. I should just. I'll just go and do a quick little walk. That quick little walk turned into a 2.5 hour monster slaying extravaganza. So yeah, it was a lot of fun. And I'm looking forward to seeing what they release next and continuing to enjoy the experience.
I'm curious. Before I throw it to somebody else, because like as you got back too, you finally got your camera back. So have you been like making it into a big experience when you go out, like taking photos, hunting monsters?
I haven't had any proper experience to go out with my camera like this. I usually like going out on the weekends, but like this weekend has been pretty much fully booked, so I haven't had a good experience, good time to do it. And also, it's so fucking
Hot out.
hot out right now. And I know, like, with when I go out trying to take pictures with my camera, like, I can't do one where it's a lot of walking because I'll overheat almost instantly. And then the only thing I want to do is not be there in the heat. So it is a little bit tougher to get out with this crazy heat wave we've been having. So hopefully it'll die down soon, but we'll see. But yeah, I am really excited to have my camera back now that I can actually go out and take photos of some birds again.
All right. Anthony, how's your Monster Hunter been going with Monster Hunter now?
Pretty good. I've kind of cooled it a little bit because, like, I mean, not because I want to, but it's just I'm doing so many short walks a day. Like, not long. Like, longest I've gone in one go, maybe 45 minutes. Usually, probably 35, 30 minutes. But it's like multiple day, and that's because the function where you can only do a hunt-a-thon once every 3 hours. So basically, from when I wake up to when I go to bed, if I'm able to go for a walk every 3 hours, I do that. The problem is my feet have been sore since the convention, and they haven't stopped being sore because I keep going for walks. So yesterday I didn't really. I opened my phone like Mark's saying he does every 15 minutes. I was doing that a bunch yesterday. Just stayed home. I did one short walk today, but I am really enjoying it. I just recently hit the cap in your storage box, and there's only a few options you can do here. One of them being pay like $30 to double the storage space, like 30 Canadian. Um, or you can buy the smaller upgrade. I forget how much that one is. Might be $6 or something.
380.
For the
No,
500.
280 before tax.
Okay, so that yeah. So it's either you can buy 5,000 or 500, something like
Yeah.
that. So I'm like, well, I do plan to buy the bigger upgrade eventually, but I'm like, I want to make sure this game has longevity for the summer first for me. So I want to wait till like probably at least first or second week of next month. If I'm still actively playing every day, I'm probably gonna drop the $30. But for now, the only option was okay. Thankfully, I'm trying to main longsword, which, like a lot of the weapons, you want to have a build for each element, which I have kind of established, but I haven't been upgrading them because I'm like, I should probably pick one to kind of focus on first. So, but now I'm like, okay, my storage box is capped. So I just went through every set, upgraded anything I could, and I went from like 5,500 items to like 4,400 items. Like I just burned like through over 1,000 items. So I should be able to keep doing that for a little bit, but eventually the upgrade materials are going to be so rare that I'm not going to be able to do that, and I'll have to pay the money to upgrade. But it's been great. They got that new Elder Dragon. I can't remember if he was in there last week or not when we did the podcast, but I haven't done him yet. I keep only getting the 8-star version here, and I'm not like Sean. I don't know if you do it, Mark, but I don't want to join the 8-star and get carried because it's either you do that and you have the chance to lose, or you do get carried and you get items from this one monster, or I use that same Huntathon ticket and I do a fight of 5 different monsters, and a lot of the times, like 3 of those 5 monsters I need for my gear. So I've been choosing to go that route instead of the Elder Dragon, but I do want to try him eventually. It's crazy how dynamic they were able to make some of these monster fights in this Pokemon-esque game. Like, it's not as simple as tapping. There's so many inputs, and like this Elder Dragon, the mechanics with this boss just take this game to the next level. So I'm actually excited to see what comes, because this is the first Elder Dragon. As we know, Elder Dragons, there's several of them in the Monster Hunter series, probably more than that. And I'm sure they'll eventually make their way into the game, and I'm just curious to see how they're going to play out. Like the way this one is, it's just crazy. It's like 2 phases and stuff. It's
Yeah, I've done the fight several times. It's as I've told you, I have a couple resource spots right on my apartment, so I can wake up and then I don't even have to walk out of my place. I can just join it from my bed. So yeah, I've done that fight. But luckily, I've only ever had the 6-star one, so like it was manageable for me to fight every single time. But yeah, the fight is pretty cool.
Have you seen the statistics on the health differences of the monsters from like a 6-star versus an 8-star? It's like hundreds of thousands of HP difference. Like it's
That
crazy.
makes sense.
It's insane.
Uh,
I think so. I'll have to double check that actually. I'm pretty sure it is though. It's like a huge difference. Sorry,
Well,
go
it
ahead.
makes sense because like once you get through once you get through the first 5 stars, that's like the base level, and then like the end game content makes sense for the increase to be exponential between one and another. So you don't just rocket right through to like a 10-star, and it's just like a a little bit harder than like the 6-star was, right?
Yeah.
John, where are you at with Monster Hunter now?
Chris, now you know how I feel sometimes during Destiny 2 talk. And I want to add, the whole time this conversation was happening, I have the app open. I see we have a friends quest going on. Every time you kill a monster, you get like it adds to the quantity, and it's just like Tibbs. Tibbs made progress. Ziggs made progress, and that's Anthony and Mark. I have to say though, like the fact that I feel like this game is stemming a lot more people into playing actual Monster Hunter, because when I was playing World and I fired an SOS flare, which is how you like summon other players into your actual fights, I've noticed like it's actually quick. People start joining, so I feel like more people are getting into Monster Hunter because of this. And honestly, I love Monster Hunter now. I really haven't had time to like go around, take walks and stuff. Sometimes I have stuff spawn around my house, so it kind of helps a little bit. But um, yeah, like the fact that it stemmed me into playing Monster Hunter again, it stemmed Anthony into playing Monster Hunter again. I don't want to say that it stemmed Mark into. I think seeing Rise for free kind of stemmed Mark into playing it again. But yeah,
The free
it's
price
cool.
tag does help.
It does. Yeah, it's a cool game overall for a mobile game, especially. Like it's pretty crazy. But yeah, I'm still addicted to it, and I'll still continue to play it, and I'm still gonna find time to take walks and have a lot of fun with it.
Nice. Yeah, I don't really have much to say on the game. I talked about it last week, Mark. I brought up like when we were like at Blue Mountain, like where I had to hit the point of being like I had to like leave you guys behind because you would keep stopping. I was just like,
There were monsters that needed slaying. I had to catch up to everybody.
For everyone listening, the reason why Sean's not here today is he's very upset that he was not included in the monster hunting quest with you guys this week. So, you know, he's
Okay. I am going to say this. We all were talking about this quest. We all sent our quest to say which one to join. Then we're like, okay, we're going to join this one. This one's up. We all joined it. And for some reason, Sean was waiting.
That's true.
The other guy didn't join for like a full 30, 40 minutes after we started it.
To be fair as well, like Mark was saying, so we all posted it, and I posted mine, and I'm like, oh, it just says slay 300 monsters. It doesn't say large. So like I think the small ones count. And everyone's like, yeah, let's do that. And Sean hadn't said anything. So then I added Sean. I'm like, does this sound good? And he's like, oh, fuck yeah. And I'm like, okay. like I literally made sure I had acknowledgement from the group that this is the quest we're doing, and then I posted it. And then I think, whoever it was posted a message like a while later saying, "Oh, some random joined," and then Sean was like, "Oh, damn it!" So
Yeah,
it
I
does
have
suck though.
since removed all my friends
Yeah,
besides you guys.
I went
from
through and I
this list.
deleted all the people from Blue Mountain as
And
well.
to be fair too, like, how are we supposed to know that was a function? There's even I'm on this. Followed the subreddit for it, and there's people complaining about similar things. Or no, sorry, they're complaining about someone on their friends list joining their quest, but then just like not contributing and just like basically, what's the word? Hosting essentially.
Yeah.
And then a lot of people were like, "Oh, just delete them off your friends list." And I've been commenting on someone being like, "That'll kind of help, but like
Yeah, it doesn't
when
prevent
your
them from
friend
the thing they
joins,
currently joined.
yeah, it's like even though I posted it, if my friend joins, all his friends can now see that quest as well. So it's like exponentially accessible based off who joins you. So, but how are we supposed to know that? This feature just got added like last week, right? So
Yeah.
we know going forward now that when we're gonna post, it's like we say, "Is everyone good? Okay, it's posted. Let's go." Like we can coordinate much more to the second, to the minute, to avoid it in the future. Um, but yeah, it does suck though because Sean does play quite a bit, so
Yeah.
he definitely
I
would.
wish he would have been in here. We would have definitely been done this by now. I
Oh
was
yeah,
throwing in while I was at work, especially. I was throwing in 150 kills a day on requests.
I was trying to
I
keep up
slowed
with
down
you,
this
but like I
weekend,
was
though.
like
Yeah.
I couldn't do it. I was usually like 50 behind you every time.
Well, it's funny. Like I don't know if it was just the area I was in, but like when I walked to Tim's on my lunch break, like I'd just be walking down the road and there'd almost be nonstop. I get like 20 or 30 freaking monsters just walking to Tim's and back.
Nice.
Well, I mean, isn't that just downtown Windsor in general?
Well, this isn't downtown. I'm West End.
Okay.
Monsters all over the city.
But yeah, obviously that's not the reason why Sean's not on the podcast.
Yeah.
I just
Yeah, I
figured
know.
it was a perfect setup. Uh,
We still love you, Sean.
Yeah.
just
We
next
miss you,
time,
and we'll make sure you are in the next one for sure.
I'm
Because
gonna make an
it's
account
contributing
just to take a
nothing.
spot next time, just and not contribute at all. All right. Any final thoughts on Monster Hunter now?
It's great.
It's free. Get it, try it, and if you love it, keep on playing it forever.
All right. So next up, we have the Nintendo Direct. I've got the full list right here. We'll just go through the names. There's so many of them. Nintendo World Championship NES Edition. We saw more of that. Fairy Tale 2, something up Mark's alley right there. Fantasian Neo Dimension, which I think is definitely up Anthony and John's alley, since it's from the original creator of Final Fantasy, if I remember correctly. Nintendo Switch Sports Update, Basketball, MIO, Memories in Orbit, an update to Disney Illusion Island, Hello Kitty Island Adventure, game of the show. Let's be honest right now. I think that is the real winner. Looney Tunes, Wacky World of Sports, an update to Among Us. Farmagia, the game that Mark is definitely going to be playing. Donkey Kong Country Returns HD. Dragon Quest 3 HD, which will then soon be followed by so HD 2D remake, which will be followed by 1 and 2 coming in 2025. Funko Fusion, Luigi's Mansion 2 HD, the new Danpa Man, Metal Slug Attack Reloaded, Darkest Dungeon 2, GBA update, Metroid Zero Mission and Four Swords, N64 update, Turok Dinosaur Hunter and Perfect Dark, Phantom Brave, The Lost Hero, Marvel vs. Capcom Fighting Collection, Super Mario Party Jamboree, The Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom, the Nintendo Switch Lite Hyrule Edition, which looks really actually dope. Just Dance 2025 edition, Lego Horizons Adventures, Stray, Tales of the Shire, Lord of the Rings game, Ace Attorney Investigations Collection, The 100 Line, Last Defense, Romancing Saga 2, Revenge of the Seven, Metroid Prime 4 Beyond. John, you're usually one of the ones who really gravitates toward Nintendo, so I'll let you start us off. What did you think of this direct?
I really like the direct. A lot of things surprised me, um, especially the oddly enough, the thing that surprised me the most was the Dragon Quest III HD 2D remake, which I'm definitely getting. That's definitely on my list. Another thing that surprised me was a Zelda game where you play as Zelda, which is again on my list. It's something I will be playing for sure. The Fantasian, I'm not so sure I would get into it because it is just a like a port of a mobile game, which is I'm sure it has potential to be good, but like it's a shame that that's what Sakaguchi's working on. Um, the game that I'm probably the most excited for is Hello Kitty Island Adventure. I can't wait to see what Hello Kitty and her friends get into. A bunch of wacky antics, I'm sure. Um, Metroid Prime 4. Now that's the big one. That was like the headliner, like the big announcement. Um, I can't. I watched the trailer during the direct, and I cannot see this game being released on the Switch. So I feel like that was kind of teasing the next console generation for Nintendo, just because of how beautiful. I mean, like games have proven that you can make something that looks really good on the Switch, but this is like beyond that. This is like it just looks so crisp and so expansive, and it could be just like on different hardware or something, but if it is on Switch, like I hope it looks this good. Like I'm kind of doubting it, but I hope it looks this good.
Yeah, I definitely gravitate toward what they showed was performing on the next gen hardware. But I do believe, like in my mind, I see them releasing it on the Switch, but like it will not look like and play the way it looks like in the
It
video.
could be like, you know how when Twilight Princess came out, it came out for the GameCube and for the Wii.
Yeah.
Like it came out on both, with the major difference being just left-handed and right-handed Link. That was the big difference. It was like I think Twilight Princess, just for Joy-Con's sake, they made Link use his sword in the right hand. So yeah, I feel like maybe this could be that too, where they have Metroid Prime on the Switch and on whatever the next generation of console is going to be.
Anthony, what on this list has caught your eye?
So seeing the Fairy Tale 2 game, that's when I was like, wait, there's a Fairy Tale 1. And then I'm like, wait, I bought a Fairy Tale game. We were just talking about this, where I bought it, but then when I was looking at the cover, I was like, oh, I think this is a fighting game. Like, because the industry is notorious for making bad anime fighting games. Aside from like the pillars of like Dragon Ball Z, the Naruto games are considered pretty good as well. Um, but there's a lot of trash ones. Like think of that recent one, Jujutsu Kaisen. They did one, and apparently it's just abysmal. So I never played it. It's still sealed actually. And then talking to Mark, he's like, no, that's definitely the first one in the series. So I'm interested in that one. However, I got to play the first one first. Because speaking of Fairy Tale, about a week ago, I started the series back up from where I left off like 10 years ago. Um, not, I'm probably about third way in. Like I was at like around 90. Now I'm at about 125. So I'm power through
Nice.
it pretty quick. I'm getting in maybe, I don't know, 5 episodes a day, sometimes more, sometimes a little less. Um, so yeah, I'm definitely interested in that. Just got to play the first one first. Like like John was saying, I didn't know it was Fantasian was a port from mobile, but and I didn't know when I'm watching it that it was the Final Fantasy creator. However, it didn't do too much for me, like watching it. Maybe if I see more, I might change my mind. But as of right now, I'm gonna probably not jump into that one. But who knows? We'll see. A big aspect, as we know, with the current climate is time, and that's one of those games I'll put on the list of if I have time. Was the okay? Let's see. John, I don't know if you were joking. I know I'm not. I am surprisingly actually slightly interested in this Hello Kitty Island adventure game. I'm not gonna lie. Like it actually looked pretty like all I thought the whole time was like Animal Crossing.
I was joking, but I mean,
You were
I'm
joking.
not.
I am
I'm
not.
not going to shame you for like
It actually
wanting
looks
to get into it.
pretty fun. And so one aspect you should probably know that'll play into the part of this interest is my son is I don't know if it's just because I'm kind of like the only male he's around a lot of the time. Like most of the family he sees are females. Like a lot of his friends, he even told me in his class right now, I think it's him and like 3 other boys, and the rest are girls. So, but like a lot of his interests are kind of girly. So like this, he would probably be right into this game, which to me is just a gateway into the Animal Crossing series, as far as I'm concerned. So there's some potential there, not just for me, but to play together. And I just hope they don't do what Animal Crossing did, where it's like one island per console, no matter how many accounts use it, which was, I mean, it got them to sell a ton of Switch Lights, I bet, when Animal Crossing came out. Um, but yeah, moving on. The Formagia, whatever. I don't know what it is about this game. Like, I do like farming sim games to some degree. The art style, I mean, it's the fairy tale guy, right? Like, it's on point with that art style, which I do really like that art style. And just like, I don't fully understand all the aspects of what you're doing in this game, but just seeing like the fact that you're farming, but then there's like all these monsters or whatever you call it, like it's it's got me interested for sure. It's unfortunate it's on the Switch, but I will go to the Switch.
I just looked it up. It's coming on PlayStation.
Yes, hell yeah!
Yeah.
All right, well I'm
I
playing that one.
googled Farmagia PS5 and it brought me directly to the PlayStation app.
Oh, okay, sweet. Okay, cool. So yeah, even more so interested now. Um, there's one more on here. Where is it? Okay, so Tales of the Shire, I've been interested since we got the announcement. Seeing what they put out, the interest is still there. I just feel like when I look at that and compare it to other games in the same space right now, I'm not sure if I'm as hot on it as I was at announcement. And as big of a Lord of the Rings fan as I am, I don't know if the name attachment will be enough for me to look past a lesser game than its peers. If that's the case, like it's so that one I'm going to reserve for wait till I see more because we didn't get too much in the footage per se. It's compared to like some of the other games in the same space. So it's a wait and see for me. But the interest is still it's on hold, but it's not gone. So um, yeah, there's some mild interest in a couple other small things, but most likely I probably will just bypass them. Probably just keep tabs on them. So those are the highlights I would say for me overall.
Mark, so from the list, what has caught your eye?
So, as Anthony said, Fairy Tail 2 obviously is like Fairy Tail is probably my number one favorite anime. It's what got me into actually watching anime very seriously. I've been when I started watching it, it wasn't even we didn't even get past the Tenro Island arc by the time I was watching it. So like I watched that one for years until completion. There's actually new Fairy Tale 100-Year Quest that's coming out, I think in July for the next anime season. Super pumped about that. So Fairy Tale 2, 100% getting. The Pharmagia, I watched the one trailer and it, as Anthony said, it just ticked a lot of boxes. I don't understand what boxes it ticked, but it ticked them, and it's definitely an interest. And I'm really happy it's going to be on the PS5. But yeah, it's like the fact that like it's like an army management sim, sort of like a farming and army management, and you grow your monsters. I think that's hilarious, and I'm really excited to see what they do with that. And like the art style, I love the fairy tale art style. So like the fact that like this is all made by those guys and all that art style is there, I'm 100% here for it. Let's see. I always did appreciate like Turok, Dinosaur Hunter, and Perfect Dark are actually two really good games that I like playing. I have Turok on the PS5 that I played a bit, but John was saying a little bit earlier while we were on our break that it's like going to be a streaming thing and like it was very choppy or something like that, which I don't think that would interest me, and doing that just would be frustrating because like those games are already going to be hard enough with the controls where the input lags I think is not going to be there for me. But like hopefully they don't they figure that out and they can get it all squared away if that is a thing. Okay, so I'm getting from the booth a no. So yeah, definitely that kind of curbs my interest in those. But like if I really want to play it, it's get an emulator on my computer. Let's see. The new Zelda game, though, that does actually look very interesting, and I could be tempted to dust off my Switch and play that one because I think I really appreciate how like it's actually a Zelda game this time, where Zelda's the main character. So like I'm definitely going to keep an eye on that one, just kind of see where that goes. Yeah. Besides that, uh, I'll just like I think Tales of the Shire one. I think I've already seen a little bit on that one, but as Anthony said, we're just going to keep an eye on it, see what it kind of looks like in the future when it actually comes out. But yeah, the pretty much the fairy tale games are my main focuses.
Let's see. As for me, I will say, funnily enough, when I watched this, one of the things that stood out to me, I'm not even a Zelda person, and I was like, that Switch Lite limited edition is actually pretty dope. But I am not ready to buy my 27th Switch. Obviously, I'm just gonna wait for the next gen console. But funnily enough, like that limited edition is what stemmed what will later be our final topic. Yeah, the Dragon Quest remakes definitely caught my eye. I won't lie. One of the games that caught my eye, where was it? But yeah, I believe it was Phantom Brave: The Lost Hero, which was like the tactics game. Super Mario Party Jamboree. I always like the Mario Party experiences. The Marvel vs. Capcom Fighting Collection that is coming to PlayStation as well. I think I will actually be picking that up. I wasn't really impressed with what I saw of Funko Fusion, to be honest. Not to say that I had like really great expectations for it, to be fair, at the same time. But yeah, funnily enough, earlier this week when I was at work talking to Griffin, I asked him if he watched the showcase, and he's like, "Oh no, is there anything that you think that I would like?" And I was just like, "I'm gonna be straight up honest with you, man. Like, Hello Kitty Island Adventure, because like he plays a lot of Animal Crossing, so I was like for real, I think this is something you would actually like."
Yeah, dude. Straight up.
And honestly, the Donkey Kong Country Returns kind of caught my eye. I used to play the Donkey Kong Country on like the Super Nintendo all the time, so I do have some nostalgia tied to that, even though like they're different games, but in the same franchise. Oh yeah, that's pretty much I think it for what kind of caught my attention. Yeah. Any final thoughts before we move on?
Fairy tale
Let's
number
go.
one.
All right, now for a topic we're all excited about. Fortnite Reload. I honestly just threw this in there because there was not much significant news. And I mean, Fortnite is Fortnite. All right. Launch June 22nd. Reload is a 40-player experience on a tighter map featuring familiar locations like Tilted Towers and Retail Row. When eliminated, a player's individual reboot timer starts. The player reboots at the end of the timer. Reboot timers begin at 30 seconds and scale up to 40 seconds later in the match. Remaining teammates can reduce reboot timers by 2 seconds by downing an opponent, 4 seconds by eliminating one, and 10 seconds by wiping an opposing squad. When down, players can opt to start their reboot timer right away instead of waiting for a revive. Towards the end of the match, reboots will stop, meaning lost teammates will no longer return. And it's just gonna bring back a lot of like the old like OG weapons like tactical shotgun, heavy assault rifle, bolt action sniper, rocket launcher, grappler, and more. I'll go first, I guess, on this one. This does nothing for me. Again, just a topic to throw in. That time I had with Fortnite has definitely come and gone. Like, I will only ever re-download it to buy a Venom skin, like, and then delete it immediately off my hard drive. John, where are you at with this?
I'm sure it's gonna be mad skibbity riz, bro. And I got to get into it. I'll be mewing and gooning the whole time.
Give it that hot food.
Mark, where are your excitement levels on this update?
See, I was excited for Fortnite way back when it was first coming out, and we actually paid for it because they were supposed to have this big single player experience as well, which was pretty fun. I actually really did enjoy the single player experience, but now that I don't even think that exists anymore. I could be wrong, but I don't even think that exists anymore.
I think Save the World still exists because I think Anthony
Yeah,
Krill
well.
plays it, right? I think.
I don't
he
know.
plays online. I think it does because I do remember Kurt telling me he was jealous that I had it because you can earn the V-Bucks for free by doing like the daily bounties in the game. And like that was as of, let's say, like 4 months ago. So they very well could. I know you can't get it anymore. I'm pretty sure. So like I think you'd only have access if you had it originally.
Yeah, the founder bundle or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, I enjoyed that. I did enjoy actually playing it for a little while, but I still remember the exact game that ruined it forever for me. Was I was playing with you, Chris, and like I hadn't played it in a while. I'm like, yeah, sure, I'll jump on with you. Why not? We're going through. We're in a tunnel area, so like if we get into a firefight, like there's nowhere you can go. Like it's a tunnel, it's a straight fucking tunnel. I had a legendary minigun. It's like, okay, like we're in a tunnel. This is the most ideal spot for this weapon. Turn around, there's two guys running down the tunnel. I'm like, easy win. The first bullet left the chamber. Before it reached them, there was a fucking castle with a Starbucks in it. And I lost that fight immediately. I just messaged Chris. I'm like, Chris, I'm sorry, I cannot play this game ever again. I could, yeah. The I know they did release the no building modes and stuff like that, but I had my only victory royale, and is it victory royale? I think it's victory royale. Anyways, the only one I got in that game was a solo win. So that's the only one that matters. And I can retire happy from never playing that game ever again. I'm sure it's going to be fun, but it's Fortnite is just not my thing. I'm no ninja. I'm not that good at it. I will stick to my other games.
I want to be ninja.
Yeah, like the gunplay I did enjoy, and like that I was pretty strong with it, like because like building was not my forte. So like I strictly depended on the gunplay itself, which good oftentimes I was able to like overcome the odds with it. But yeah, like when somebody builds like fucking Disneyland in 5 seconds, you're like, what the fuck?
You just look at it and you're like, why am I even playing? This guy can twitch his fingers in half a second, and all of a sudden we have the tallest tower in the world.
Okay, so this is a Reddit post from a month ago. in regards to Save the World. Epic decided to keep it as a premium experience, but you can easily access the mode by buying the Vinderman bundle for $18. I'm assuming American. So Save the
I
World
gotcha.
is still a thing.
Yeah, I'd re-download to play Save the World because that was a fun experience. Nothing else.
When that fucking game was coming out, I was in the same boat as you, Mark. I was excited for it, and I bought like the ultimate edition that came with like
Yeah.
3 codes for like people and shit like that. Man, like it was fun, but like it wasn't what I remember. I think I remember like when they first showed it, because like when I heard Epic, and I think you were probably in the same boat, Mark. Is like, oh, it looked like this like zombie building survival experience from like the creators of Gears of War. Like this sounds like, and then it ended up not.
Yeah. I also find it funny because like the main focus was kind of around the Save the World thing at first, and then the online was such a success that's just like, oh, we're just going to completely focus on online now. They just completely 180, and they're like, oh yeah, we sold this with this thing thinking this was going to be like the main focus of the game. No, we're doing online now.
Yeah,
It spawned a whole new genre of video game.
yeah. The one thing that still annoys me, and I assume they still haven't patched it after all this time, is the fact that the skins you buy in the store you can't use in Save the World. So like I can't play as Venom in Save the World. Anthony, what does this Fortnite news do for you?
The news, nothing. Anything PvP for the most part, especially Fortnite, I do not give a crap about. What does interest me though is the things outside of basically Fortnite that they are doing. Like we saw it in somewhat recent Lego Fortnite, right? Or like a survival crafting game that were your Lego men, but it's Fortnite. Or the rhythm game. Or this most recent thing, I don't know if you've seen this, Chris, it's very Destiny vibes. It was the Metallica event with Fortnite. Have you seen any of that?
Oh no, I've
Like they're
not seen
fighting
that.
at one point they're fighting a boss that looks like we have the witness at home, you know? Where he's got like 6 arms and like they're on a platform and they have to shoot him. Like it's purely PvE and it's like they're traversing essentially like a raid with intervals where it's like I'm assuming the music's playing the whole time and then they get to a part where there's just a huge projection of the band playing and then they go to like the next segment or whatever. And it looks really cool. Like if that what is what Fortnite was, I would be into Fortnite. Even early on, I remember Kurt, my friend Kurt, being a huge Fortnite guy. He got me to try Fortnite or jump into it uh, because they had some Halloween event going on where it was like some giant boss, and you had to. I don't remember how many players, but it was PVE. Like just, I think it was one of the first modes of PVE that they did in like the online space outside of like the Save the World stuff. Maybe. And I thought it was really cool. You had these like launchers, you could jump around, you fight this huge like Halloween monster dude. But then the event ends and it goes away and whatever. So I'm usually somewhat keeping an eye out on Fortnite news to see if it's not Fortnite news. Like Fortnite's non-Fortnite news, basically. Because they are cooking up some cool stuff. For me, like for my interest, it's just not what they are specialized in that interests me. So,
Yeah, I believe.
and my kid will never touch that game.
I believe not too long ago the guitar controller finally came out for the music festival. And to be fair, it looks really nice. Pricey, but very nice. Any final thoughts on Fortnite before we move on?
No.
No, sir.
I'm good.
All right. Next up, Beyond Good and Evil 20th anniversary. All right. So play Beyond Good and Evil in the best way possible with upgraded performances up to 4K, 60 FPS, and numerous quality of life improvements, including autosave, cutscene skip, full controller and keyboard and mouse support, and cross save across all platforms. releases June 25th. It will release on PS5, PS4, Xbox Series X and S, Xbox One, Nintendo Switch, and PC. The original game released in North America on November 11th, 2003 on PS2, Windows, Xbox, and GameCube. The long-awaited sequel was announced in 2008 and still has not released.
Jesus.
It is currently still in development. So yeah. And an interesting thing I saw on like the website, the 20th anniversary edition will feature a narrative link to the sequel. Wouldn't it, by association of it being a sequel, have a narrative link? Just in, like if it's continuing
You
based
would
off the
think.
story. Um. Yeah. Mark, did you ever play the first one? I can't remember.
No, when I saw that on the list, I had to look it up to see what it was. I looked, I'm like, I have no idea what the hell this is.
Yeah, so this one does nothing for you.
No, okay, I can't say that I have any particular interest. Maybe the second one, if they ever release it, I'll look into, because apparently it's a standalone game from what you just said.
All right, Anthony, did you ever play the first Beyond Good and Evil?
Yeah, there was a time when my dad was a gamer to some degree, PS1 era, slightly early PS2, and my stepbrother, who's much older than me, he was like right into it. So my dad would a lot of the times get like hand-me-down games from him, and one of them was that game on PC. Um, so I watched my dad play a good portion of it. I, as a kid, played some of it, but as a kid, there was just a lot I couldn't overcome in the game. I just, I don't know if when you're a kid, you're playing a game and you just can't figure out how to progress kind of thing. I kind of experienced that with it, but like I did get a good chunk in and it was enjoyable. It was different from what I was used to because I was playing at the time like PS1, Sweet Coden, Legend of Dragoon, Final Fantasy 7, stuff like that. So it was very different, but it was enjoyable. I do have a mild nostalgic link to it, even though I never really beat it. So like there is some interest. I just don't think the interest is large enough for me to pursue it. But you never know. We'll
That's
see.
fair. John, how about you?
I really love Beyond Good and Evil. I played it all the way through, I believe, on GameCube, and then I tried to play it again on I think it was like PS3. There was like a version that came out, and there was just a game breaking bug that like just locked me. I couldn't progress, like I couldn't make any progress in the game at all. So I had a really bad experience last time I played it. Hopefully, like this version that's being released is just like, I don't know. I want to say like pristine. Like I want to say good because it is an excellent game. Like it's a fantastic game. I can't wait for this to come out. I definitely be a day one purchase for.
Yeah, I'm kind of up in the air. I remember I bought the like when on PS3, how you were saying, John. I bought it when it came out because I always remember hearing really good things about it, and it was like a really cheap price if I remember correctly. Like it was a fair price, but I don't think I ever actually got around to playing it. Um, Oh, depending on the price of this one, like if I catch it on a good sale, like say if it comes out at a reasonable price, so like say maybe like 20-25 bucks, and like later down the line I catch it for like 12 bucks, or maybe they add it to like the PlayStation Plus lineup, like I definitely do want to give it a go because I've heard nothing but good things, and like you know since the sequel was announced in 2008, any day now. So I'm running out on time to get caught up. Like yeah, it could come out tomorrow for all we know. But yeah.
Shadow drop.
Any final thoughts on Beyond Good and Evil?
No.
All right, final topic. Final topic. Yeah, so what's your favorite limited edition console? Yeah, obviously this stems from that dope Switch Lite, the Zelda one. I mean, we like over the years we've seen a lot of really incredible design works. Like Mark, like even back to like the Xbox One era. I don't know if you remember like that Gears of War, the Crimson one. Like those were really nice.
Yeah.
I will save mine for last. I will let. I'm assuming Anthony's gonna grab one right now. Mark, I'll let you start us off.
Hey, like, this is a tough one to me because like I never really cared too much about those. Like I did enjoy seeing some of them, but like there's only been a couple that I've actually purchased. One of them was a Zelda 3DS. That one was pretty cool. I did enjoy that one, but like beyond that, like I would say like the Gears of War one, that it was Gears of War and Halo were a couple of the ones that popped into my head immediately for when I read that one. Like beyond that, I don't know if there's any that like really stood out massively, obviously, because I can't even really think of them. But like, if I had to pick, I'd probably go with like the Halo ones, just because like, oh wait, there was a Star Wars
Yep, the
R2D2 one.
R2D2 360. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I was just thinking because I remember that one actually made the noises and everything. That's gonna be my answer.
Honestly,
I talked my way into it.
honestly, I was like, I was on the verge because you weren't bringing it up. I was like, I think I might just remind him about that one, but then
I know
you
because I was
thought about
talking about it. I'm like, I think it made noises, and then my brain went, you know what? One did make noises. The Star Wars R2D2 one. I was like, holy shit! The ADHD brain, baby.
That was like, I will give credit to the 360 era. Their limited editions were amazing with that stuff. Because yeah, the Gears of War one did like the startup noise as well. Like just a not needed effect, but a really awesome effect to
It's a
add
nice
onto it.
touch.
Yeah, it's a
Nice
nice
touch.
touch. John, what's yours?
So it was a toss up. I had the Star Wars Battlefront 2 PlayStation 4, which was nice, but I think I'm gonna have to give it to the. So much like Chris, I'm a big like Wind Waker. Like I love Wind Waker. I bought the Wii U when the Wind Waker edition came out, and it's just like the handheld part of the Wii U, and it's absolutely gorgeous. It's like all black. It's got like the Triforce on the bottom and like wavy like gold designs all over it. Gorgeous console. Um, it's still relatively cheap now. Like it's like $400 in box, I believe. Um, my kids absolutely destroyed it. They were all pretty young when I got it, so I was a little upset about it. But and you know the Wii U controller, like the actual like controller itself, you can't really replace it without buying an entire console. So yeah, I was pretty hurt about that. I might actually buy it again at some point because yeah, it's only like from like 300 to $400. So
Yeah, that is the one good thing about the Wii U system is just like with it not being maybe like as like popular and sought after, like compared to other systems, like it doesn't skyrocket to like a ridiculous amount. Anthony, what is your pick?
So I find most of the time, in general, like while the limited edition thing for consoles is cool, and I've seen some, I'm like, oh, that looks cool. A lot of times they don't appeal to me. Like, as you know, Chris, this generation is the first generation I've gotten a console at the beginning of the life cycle, right? Like it's like, yeah, it's so the limited edition thing for the most part that never really attracted me, but of the ones I've seen, one that's always kind of stuck with me.
Storm is coming.
What?
oh shit, I wasn't muted.
Um, that's always stuck with me is Sean. Him and I both I mean, we're on hiatus right now, but we've actively collected retro games and just game collecting in general, consoles, whatnot. And he showed me a 3DS. I believe it was a 3DS. It's the Nintendo, or sorry, the Zelda Hyrule Shield. Like it's blue and it's got like what's the word? Like elevated, not engraved, but the opposite. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, I want to say embossed is the first thing that comes up. I don't think
Embossed.
that's the right one.
Is that what they do to
Um,
mummies? No,
no, I think
embalmed.
embossing is a sewing term. With it.
I'm thinking of embalmed. Um,
Yeah.
but no, yeah, it's like I got the image right here. It's like
Oh
it
no,
just
embossed
looks
is correct.
crisp.
Yeah.
The outside has like the metal trimming with like the bolt like aesthetic around the outside, like when you have it closed, and then the Triforce, you got the eagle. It looks so crisp to me. Like every time Sean shows me that, I'm like, I want it. I want it just to have it. But yeah, other than that, like there's been some cool ones I've seen. But that one definitely has stuck with me ever since Sean showed me it.
Yeah, like there's been like a lot of really like dope designs. Like I remember PS4 era, there was a limited edition Destiny Taken King console that was really
Oh,
dope.
really?
Yeah, it was like
PS4?
white and it had this like gold like design to it. Um the PS4 Pro Spider-Man 1 was like really dope, but that's just the full on red, the one that Anthony now has.
Oh, yeah, it's
Uh
right here.
and then my answer is like it's pretty fucking obvious what my answer
Yeah, you're good. Pick that.
this bad boy right here.
I was going to say that one just to mess with you, but
Yeah, the second that was announced, I had to have it. And I know 100%. So we know like the PS5 Pro is coming, right? We know that is a thing. And we know from the leaks, the Venom game is coming. That's the thing. So it's a pretty safe bet those guys are going to do a Venom
oh,
PS5 Pro.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm fucked.
You know it.
Yeah.
they just need to release like a fully gold-plated Venom anything. Put as much money on it as possible, and Chris will just take out a loan to buy it.
Well, like the funny thing was, out of like every console generation, this is the first one where I had like no desire to be like, no, I don't need like any like they've had like some limited edition ones. I'm like, no, I don't need it. I don't need it. Even like the Pro, I'm like, I don't need it. I don't need it. I saw that, I'm like, I fucking need it. And then yeah, but I
Just
mean,
like the one episode of SpongeBob where he's like, "I don't need it. I don't need it. I don't need. I don't need it."
I will say I'm disappointed nobody said the SpongeBob Xbox Series X.
Dude, I did a quick Google search just to see if there's anything that piqued my interest outside of like the 3DS that's just in the forefront of my mind with the topic. And I was just skimming to see if there's anything I wasn't remembering. And I saw that one. I'm like, oh, that's not real. So I just kept scrolling. I didn't realize that was actually a thing. That is hilarious.
Oh man.
Yeah, freaking my favorite thing about that console is so the podcast network me and Anthony listen to a lot, like The Last Stand Media. They have an Xbox podcast called Defining Duke, and it was like the two of them and one of the guy who hosts Summon Sign, another podcast on the network. They were on it. It was when the layoffs happened with Microsoft and all that, like when they closed down Tango and all that. They were just talking about Xbox related stuff, and then one of the hosts, Mr. Matty Plays, goes like, "Oh, but don't worry, Brad. They got the SpongeBob exclusive limited edition console." And the Brad guy just goes like, "Oh, I forgot about that. How do you guys even do this show? like, just like really? Oh, it's
Oh man.
oh, it's
Like,
good.
oh, Halo, Gears of War.
SpongeBob. Well, and it was weird too, because like when Starfield was coming out, instead of doing a limited edition console, they did a vinyl wrap for the console. Like,
Ugh.
uh,
You know what? You know what?
jeez.
But speaking of like, obviously a part of a limited edition console is like the aesthetic, right? A lot of it. I know it's a lot of them are like the original shape, just with like some sort of decal or like imagery on it. What I am seriously interested in pursuing is like the third party plates for the PS5, where you can essentially change the entire shape. Like you know how I don't know as big as we are on PlayStation. I don't know if you guys agree with me, but I'm not really a fan of the design of the PS5, and I've seen some really cool like where you change the plates and it essentially looks like a completely different console, and there's so many different options. One of these days I'm probably going to do that, and then I'll be able to actually lay it on its side without worrying about it sliding off this tiny little circular plate that it sits on. But yeah,
I
if
like
you
I
haven't
like
seen
the
those,
design. Like I don't get me wrong, I wouldn't rank it like in like greatest designs, but like it's like a design that I know a lot of people do not like it, but like when it was shown, I dug it. Like I still dig it. Like I still like every now and then I'll just like, I mean, granted, the Spider-Man like paint job helps, but like every time I look at it, I'm like, that looks slick. But then I'll look at my Xbox and be like, it's a fucking brick. Like
yeah,
it's just
Oh, it's a little mini fridge.
yeah. Like,
I will say, like, I do have mine on side, and I've accidentally tripped over the cords, and it's never come off that little stand.
I just I don't want to I don't want to use your RNG as a basis though.
let's just
Well, like,
I
because
know
like the stand,
I
it
got a
has
kid,
little
man.
grippers on it, so like as long as you have it sitting on there properly, because it like hooks around the back, and then like it can't really move off of it.
Like, so the thing is, like, I had it on the side for the longest time in my living room, and above it is my TV on a extending, pivoting mount. And anytime I had to like um, plug in something behind the TV, when I'm over there working, like pulling it, it like if I bump it, it like would slide off. Like it felt so easily. Like I don't know, just with my own
We've had different
experiences.
experiences.
Yeah, so it just I wish there was like a locking mechanism instead of relying on just like the friction.
I think it's
Just
called
to make me
super
feel
glue.
better. Yeah, yeah, I could do that. Or I could just get some dope ass custom. I could literally get a plate. Like, I bet you there's ones out there where I could literally just make it look like it's a Nintendo console. Just have like the Hyrule shield, like carved into the top. I've even seen ones for better airflow, for the console for cooling and stuff. Just like better channels for the air to flow through to the fans and stuff, which is cool.
That's pretty cool.
But anyways, yeah. Yeah.
after
Limited editions.
D brand. Yeah, I think that was it. Yeah, there is like a brand that like makes like custom ones. I think yeah, D brand was the one I was thinking of.
What's the name?
D
D brand?
brand. So just D and brand.
It's the brand.
The brand.
Duh brand.
The brand.
The brand.
Oh yeah, those look pretty sick. Oh, dude, I don't know if it's real. It's an image, and it's like Spider. It's basically their version of your limited edition.
Whoops,
I
that's
don't know if it's
being.
real, but
Oh, I say like. I'm assuming this is it right here. Or what was interesting. Like, basically, I'm on like the main page of the website, and it starts off with like a white PS5, but like when you scroll down, it starts to get like taken over with like a symbiote. But then it's just a black design.
yeah,
This is ordered 5.
It's just it's misleading as fuck.
although this image it would require some level of wrapping because it does show like the centerpiece with a decal on it, which would have to be applied rather than using plates. In the image I sent, I don't know if it's
Yeah.
real, but it does say because it's just like Google Images. I didn't go to like their website or anything.
That looks like it would be real. It looks like they just pretty much, instead of having the corner sticking out, they just pretty much trimmed it to follow along the edge of the thing. But yeah, that wrap around the middle one, you definitely have to put that on there for
Yeah,
sure.
that I'm not a fan of. Because if you ever want to swap it out, like I bought a used PS3, like one of the models that could play PS1 and 2 games, and the person had a wrap on it and had to remove it, and oh my god,
Yeah, it's
what a
not designed to
pain.
come off easy.
No, it was, and trying to do it without scratching the crap out of the console, it was a long time it took me to get it off.
I mean, if you're going to wrap it again anyways, who cares about a couple scratches?
I wasn't though. I want the OG. It was like, it's like
Oh, okay.
it's and the thing was, it's like the early PS3, like the really glossy ones. And like the thing with glossy is like you scratch that, you're gonna see that scratch.
Oh, yeah, it sticks out.
Yeah,
Well,
100%.
nice. For checkout, it lets you opt out of like the middle skin. So you can make the
Oh, really?
purchase cheaper and not get that.
Oh, okay, dope. Yeah, I might check out that website. See what they offer. Can't do it right now, but I do eventually want to do something.
I will say immediately I do not see a green. So
What is why are they against green? Like I get Xbox is green, but they don't own green. Like they don't own it, do they? Do they have a copyright on green?
they just bought it. Yeah.
They just bought green.
They bought it. All right.
My favorite color is blue, so you never see that one on a PlayStation. That's for sure.
God damn it.
They're like, no green, 47 blues. We got cobalt blue, we got
Every
metallic
shade
blue,
of blue you can imagine.
navy blue, camel blue, blue on blue. All right.
Got that blues blue.
All right. So this has been another successful episode of the Guy Pie Podcast. I'm Chris. That's Mark.
See ya.
That's Anthony.
I'm about to go slay some monsters.
And John.
Yeah, boy.
Goodbye. I'm going to go watch the trailer for Hello Kitty Island Adventures.
Dude, they should put that in the game.
That's a wipe.